All right. All right, everyone, back. Welcome back to Empire Universe. I'm doing a live stream today, and so today I'm going to be joined by number 4 ranked Bellator light heavyweight Julius. I'm going to say this wrong, and Anglickas. I might say it wrong, but I'm gonna ask him. So without further ado, he's in here. So let's get him in here. So just gonna get him to join here, and let's get him in.
Hello.
Julius, how you doing, man?
Good, how are you? Can you hear
I'm
me
good,
good?
thank you. I'm sorry?
Can you hear me good?
I can hear you perfect.
Awesome.
I just had you I just introduced you in here, and I want to see your last name correctly. Anglickas?
Anglickas.
Anglickas.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'm
good enough.
close.
Yeah.
Close enough. Good enough. Good enough. Well, I appreciate you coming on to join me here and to talk a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and your MMA career here. So let's get started.
So yeah, originally I'm from Lithuania. I was born, I grew up there. I I came to United States when I was just about to turn 14, but we thought it's only gonna be for a visit. Like my parents came 5 years before me and my brother did. Um, and it was funny, like we thought they're gonna come back. Like we thought, okay, they're only leaving for 1 year, and then they stay the second year, the third year, the fourth year, the fifth year. So it was kind of easy. Like people think like, oh my God, it must have been really, really hard with our parents. It was at first, but it was almost like that easy build up because okay, they will be back soon.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, oh my God, they're gonna be back in 5 years. Now it was like slow build up, like 1 year. Okay, no, we're gonna be back a little bit later. Okay, and then okay, we'll be back a little bit later.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like such an easy build up. So it wasn't a bad thing. And then me and my brother came to visit for one summer. We thought it's only gonna be for a summer, and halfway through it, we just talked about it and decided to stay.
Okay.
Yeah,
And like because your parents left, so were you living by yourselves, or were you living with a family member,
with the grandma. So yeah,
grandmother?
me and
Okay.
my brother were living with my grandma, and yeah, it was fine. So we got used to being without parents. Well, I guess my grandma was a little bit more flexible. Yeah, sure, go do this, go do that, whatever.
Yeah.
So then when we got around our parents again, like we had to get used to that. It's like, oh, there's a little bit more of a law right now, so we got to listen to everybody.
Yeah.
So, but it was cool. It was nice. Yeah, in high school, like I played football, wrestling, but towards my senior year, I was thinking like, okay, because there was such a thing like you can get scholarships here and like play in
Yeah.
college. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like I don't know why more people don't take advantage of that. I guess when you grow up with it, it's such a normal thing
Of
that it
course. Yeah.
just doesn't sound so awesome. But when I came from Lithuania, it's like, what? Your college can
Yeah.
be paid for. Um, and so I had to choose wrestling or football. And I kind of learned that there was just like too much politics in football, while in wrestling, it's all you. It's on you. If you lose, it's on you. If you win, like you did something, like versus like the whole team. Like sure, teammates help, but it's still just you out there on the mat. So I figured like that's something better for me to build me as a person. So I kind of went towards that. That was my first thing, like towards like the combat competition. It was the wrestling, and when it was finished, because I transferred to St. Louis to finish my school,
Hmm.
and when wrestling was over, I was like, okay, few friends are fighting, and so I'm just like, I think this will be the next logical step because I would have missed the competition. I would have missed like all the training and craziness that goes with it. Like sometimes you almost miss the misery a little bit of all the just nonsense they got to deal with like before the competition.
Yeah.
So I figured I would miss all that excitement, and I just can't see myself doing something else. So I just jumped right to it and never looked back.
And here you are now.
Mhm.
I find like a lot of fighters talk about that. Like once you become a fighter, you never stop being a fighter.
Yes, but at the same time, I feel it's different with everybody because maybe next year I'll just lose my drive and I'll be like, I don't want to do it no more. Like it sneaks up on you at the random times, and like I've seen happen to some people. So especially after losses, because
Mm-hmm.
it's you can't redeem losses
No, you
right
can't.
away. Once you lose, it's like let's just redo this tonight, just so you could feel good um, and kind of redeem yourself. But with fighting, it's tough one. I mean, I haven't lost in a while, but I have to realize that the possibility of losing it's big. Um, Anything can happen. So if that happens, it's all right. It's part of the game. 50% of people lose anyways. So just dust yourself off, get back to it, keep kicking ass. So as long as if you lose, but you just kind of gave your all and just feel fine about it, then you can continue. So um, yeah, I feel that's the right way to look at it. Win or lose, just kick ass and move on to the next one. So
No, this might be kind of a stupid question. I mean, I think like a lot of fighters experience this, but like, do you find have you ever felt in your career where you felt like maybe this wasn't something for you, or do you ever lose a little bit of motivation, whether it be training, weight cutting, etc.?
uh, a little bit.
I
I
mean, you're still
remember,
fighting today, so you're still.
right. So right now it's good. Early in my career, when I was a pro, I think I was 2-1 as a pro, and then I could not fight for a year and a half. Like I had a fight scheduled, boom, meniscus injury, had to get a surgery, and I had to back out from the
Yeah.
fight. Okay, cool. Doctor says I'll be fine in a month because we did not repair. We just cut the thing out. Okay, we got something in a few months in July. Cool. We scheduled that. Month before the fight, I hurt my rib. Damn, had to pull out from the fight. Then for another half a year, it was like, oh, LFA is coming. We'll put you in. Nobody put me
Hmm.
in. Oh, LFA is also having a show in another 2 months. Just wait for that. Nothing. So it was just injury after injury, waiting after waiting. And I don't do nothing else. I just go train, go home, eat, sleep, play video games. That's it. Like I don't socialize too much. So it was kind of a little bit depressing of just waiting, waiting to heal,
Hmm.
waiting for the next opportunity. And then that opportunity decides to not have me on the show. So it's like, okay, I guess I'll wait another few months. So for a year and a half, it was just waiting, injuries, or me being not put on the show. And that sucked. But everybody on my team were like, no, no, Julius, like your time will come. Like it's all right. Like just keep waiting, just keep waiting. You like you'll get there, you'll get there. Also because it was like so early in my career, my parents did not know what I'm gonna get out of this. Especially since I'm not fighting, since I'm getting hurt so much. It's like just come back to Long Island, just go get a job or something. So that was a little bit slightly discouraging, but I had, even though they're my parents, I had the whole team telling me, like, no, no, Julius, just sit with it, just wait. Like, your time will come. You'll do good things. So um, that moment was a little bit tricky for a year and a half from all the injuries and not getting fights. But then after that, like, we took boxing fight on one notice. Then I had MMA fight month after. And yeah, within that year, I had like 5 more fights. So it's like from not fighting for a year and a half, I got 5 fights in 1 year, and then Contender series and signed with Bellator, and now things are looking good. So just stop getting hurt.
I feel like every fighter kind of has to go through a little bit of adversity in their career, and every fighter has to kind of have something that happens, whether that change for the better or worse. Hopefully, the better. In your case, it was the better. And looking at your career here, I mean, you had a few fights in your MMA career, and then you get to fight under LFA, one of the bigger organizations in the MMA community at the moment. So, what was the feeling being able to jump in right away? Were you expecting that?
You mean about my first LFA fight?
Yes.
Um, I did not know what to expect because every time it was just like a promise, a promise, a promise. Oh, we're gonna put you down, we're gonna put you down, and nothing happened. And whenever they put me for the first LFA fight, I was like, oh, okay, so I'm back in it. Like it kind of looked not real, but it's like they sent me the contract, and I was like, okay, well, I'm back in it. Okay, cool. So I don't think Shota was happy to fight for LFA, but I think I was happy just to fight and compete in general and just kind of start the thing back up. But being on LFA was definitely a plus because it was the first fight on TV that night. And why I loved it was just because, okay, Julius, you're gonna start exactly at 9. That's when TV turns on. So it's like, great, we're gonna know like exactly when to start warming up. We're
Yeah.
gonna know exactly when they're gonna call me up. So I was super happy about that. That was perfect. Um, yeah, because before it's like, okay, we're like estimating when we're gonna go. Then it's like, boom, both guys get knocked out. Julius, you up next. Dang it. All right, let's go. But this one was perfect. It's like 9 o'clock. We're gonna bring you in, and we're gonna get it rolling. Um, so it was really cool. I got a taste of that bigger promotion feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I had like few fights in the smaller promotions, and then LFA title. So that was again another cool little experience, a little extra media, a little extra expectations, or not expectations, but things I had to do behind the scenes with them, or like interviews before the fights, like the day of the fight, like right before the fight, we had to like do some talking. So it's like, oh, I have to do a bunch of little extra stuff, but okay, I guess that's what I will have to do in the future. So just go along with it, embrace it, and just enjoy it, I guess.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Mhm.
And so you moving on. So you get your third round rear naked choke over Carl Reed in the Dana White Contender Series. So I mean, you get a finish. So I'm a little confused. And then you went right to Bellator. So did they not offer you a contract? What happened there?
Uh, we knew they're gonna call. Um, it was just like the matter of when. Like even though you win the fight, but you don't get picked on the show, you usually get called up anyways.
Yeah.
So we did not know when that would happen, and I think I was so tired of waiting from that like year and a half of
Yeah.
like waiting.
Of course.
Even though I had a bunch of fights after that, uh, I should have been fine with waiting. But it was a good. Bellator offered me a contract, and we're just like, all right, this is a good opportunity, and so let's just take it. And UFC did call me halfway through my first Bellator fight to ask if I was like full like multi-contract with Bellator or only like one fight deal. So I guess they should have signed me at the beginning. Because right now I'm definitely with Bellator. Like I signed a new contract like 2 weeks ago. So
Oh,
I'm like,
congratulations.
thank you. So I'm like super happy with that. And yeah, I'm in a good spot. I'm glad I made the choice that I did.
That's good. Now, I mean, you've had 3 fights, and your last opponent kind of came from another organization. So you didn't fight a ranked opponent. So looking at your fights, you've won your last 3 fights in Bellator. You're ranked number 4, I believe we previously discussed.
Yeah, I think yeah.
4 or 5, I think you're jumping around there. So looking at that, I mean, do you feel you're in that position where you should deserve a kind of like a number 2, number 3 guy now?
It's weird because at the same time, what if they're looking at somebody who's ranked number 6 or 7, thinking they deserve somebody
Yeah.
who's 4 or 5? So I have to realize that it's not all about me. It's like, oh, I deserve this, da da da. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel if I'm gonna be demanding for things, then I'm just gonna disturb a natural flow of things. Because
Mm-hmm.
Bellator likes me, and they treat me right, and like they believe in me. So I'm sure what they offer is gonna be fine. And usually, I'm not good with making decisions, especially when it
Right.
comes like that, like with my career. If they offer me opponent and my coaches say this is a good fight, then I don't even question it. I just say, okay, let's do it. Because I always, like, you could show me someone who's not ranked at all, and I'll be like, damn, this dude is tough. And my coaches will be like, what are you talking about? You would run through him. So it's weird. So whatever they're gonna offer me, my coaches say yes. I'll be like, cool, let's do it. So I don't know. I I kind of just prefer the whole thing just naturally flow versus me calling people out and just making a commotion on things. Um, I'm doing fine. I think my job is just to fight versus making decisions for the whole organization. So I think if I just do my part that way, then the rest of the thing is just gonna come how it should be. Plus,
I mean,
plus it's like a trash talking, and I feel like if I call somebody out, there needs to be some little slight trash talking just to like
yeah,
pull some strings, and I'm not good at it, so I'm not even gonna go there.
fair enough.
Yeah.
No more said. And I mean, I know you talked about you just wanted to go with the flow of things. Now, do you feel like maybe, I mean, you just fought not too long ago, but looking at Bellator, do you feel like Bellator is kind of waiting for that light heavyweight Grand Prix to see where the matchups lie?
It's possible. Because yeah, there's a lot of things going on. We have like a lot of
Yeah.
205ers right now, and the tournament is still going on. So it is interesting spot.
Hmm.
Since a lot of people got eliminated from it, I feel now it's like the guys that lost, they back in the competition. Not in the
Hmm.
tournament, but they can have regular fights. So I feel before that it was all the top 205ers kind of got booked for the tournament, and everybody's eyes were on that. But now, since okay, half of the guys are out, it kind of, how should I explain it? I feel now we're gonna have more stuff to look at because, sure, we still have our tournament, but we also have the guys who lost. They back in the game. They back in just competing
Yeah.
just to compete. So we get to look at them as well. So and I don't think they are written off. They have chances to redeem themselves outside the tournament and just kind of make some noise. So the tournament would put in a lot of, I guess, emphasis on like who's the champion and does the winner also get a belt?
I think I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. I thought I'd ask you that. I thought you might know more than I do because you got Nemkov, who
Right.
is the champion, but he's fighting actually Rumble Johnson, I think now, where the standings are, or where the brackets are. So it's kind of weird if he loses. I don't know if he still. I think he still loses the. It's really weird. I
Yeah.
don't understand it because you got a guy like Rumble Johnson who just had his first fight, and if he's fighting Nemkov, who has its belt, how is that? How is that right for guys that have like 4 or 5 win streak and they're not even getting a chance at the title? So it's kind of weird. I think he still gets. I think he still. I think the guy that beats him wins the belt. I don't know why it makes sense, but
Yeah. Yeah. Because then the belt could jump back and forth a few times. Like
yeah,
if Rumble wins right now and then loses in the finals, the belt just kind of
it
jumps from
leapfrogs.
place to
Yeah,
place. So
yeah,
yeah, we'll see. But like, I think for example, like the guys that lost, let's take Machida. Machida has, if Machida, sure, Machida lost the first round against Bader, but if he fights 2 more times by the time tournament is over, for example, next round is in July. If Machida fights around that time and redeems himself like with some like impressive finish, and then when the finals are happening, he also does the same thing again, some crazy finish, then I feel he he was traveling a parallel path while the
hmm
tournament was going on its own path. And if he does 2 more great finishes, then it doesn't matter who won the tournament. I feel if he competes well, by the time tournament is over, it's almost like he earns his own way another shot at the title or something like that. And I feel that's also the same goes with the rest of the guys who like lost in the first round, because the tournament still has 2 more rounds, 2 more possible fights. Well, the guys who lost, they also have 2 more possible fights, and if they redeem themselves, they could be in a good position by the time tournament is over to like go for the title or be the
right.
contender or attack somebody. So um, it's definitely interesting. Like there's a lot to look at right now. So
Yeah, it's kind of all up in the air.
mhm,
There's a lot of things going on, and that's kind of what I like about Bellator. I always grew up with UFC. I mean, UFC was always came out first. But as Bellator has really put on more shows, the more that they're doing, I really respect what they're doing. It's really exciting
mhm,
to see how you could get a guy like the champion who can be so dominant, but he just gets it put in a matchup where he doesn't really have much of a choice, and gets put in this bracket with another guy and then loses his belt just like that. I mean, that's why I love the unexpected, and I think that's
mhm.
what keeps the fans on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, speaking of the fans, I hope they bring
They
fans soon.
return. Yeah, yeah. Do you like fighting without the fans? Was that something that like you actually enjoyed? You being able to hear your corner, or was that something that affected you?
Everything affects me. Um,
All right.
I always find something to be nervous about or something. Um, Having no crowd was, well, the contender series was kind of first taste of the
Yeah.
quietness. Um, there were people around, but nobody were yelling. So when I had my second Bellator fight with no people, when I walked in the cage, I was like, I'm looking around and I kind of see people. I see like commissions, the judges, the
Yeah.
workers. So they kind of became my crowd because it wasn't empty. It was just workers around, coaches, their coaches, workers. So it kind of brought up that contender series vibe.
hmm
But again, there was just like no real yelling. Like my coaches were yelling, his coaches were yelling. So I guess that was good enough to simulate the crowd. But it just wasn't that like roaring, like like screaming. But
Yeah.
um, that wasn't making too much of a difference actually. It kind of it was weird that how not too big of a deal it was. I guess maybe by the time you actually need to fight, you just can't worry about it.
Mhm.
But it was cool. I liked it both. But when I watch on TV, I prefer without a crowd, just because you can hear every hit and smack and kick. You just hear
Yeah.
everything. But when I fight, I feel it would be better to have a crowd, because that way you build your audience, you build your own fans, not just from like them
Mhm.
looking at you from the TV, but them being in the bleachers. If they like you, they might
It's
like
almost
run
like
up to you. Yeah,
like you connect with the fans more or less.
right. And that's important as a fighter. Like, people see you in action, not just from the TV, but in real life. So maybe then they're gonna like run into you in the casino, like, "Oh my God, Julius, can we do a picture or something?" Like things, moments like that are real cool. So I feel if the crowds are back, then I will be like able to grow as a fighter and like build my audience
Mhm.
a little bit better. So I wish that happens soon. I think they're planning to like come back pretty soon with people. I don't know if they're gonna use only Connecticut. I think in August they're gonna they thinking to like change up places. I don't know, but Connecticut was pretty cool for me. Plus, it's close
Yeah.
to home, so I just took ferry to back to Long Island.
Well, there you go. There you go. That's good. Yeah,
Hmm.
I hope so too. Because every time you watch the shows, the room is so freaking small. It's like the UFC Apex Center. It's so small. It's like, come on. At least
Yeah.
if you're gonna do a no crowd, at least make it feel like that there would be a crowd.
Hmm.
Kind of going back to what you were saying about the base and stuff. So for yourself, like from what it sounds like, you don't mind the whole interaction with fans. How do you embrace um, fans coming up to you? Like, do you ever have that just in public? How do you embrace that?
Uh, well, in public, not too much. I mean, a few times I've had like, "Hey, Julius, hey, good fight, man." Or it's like I was walking down the park and I passed some guy. He like looked at me. He's like, "You fight, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, yeah, I seen you fight." Um, so it's like few like that, but it was nothing big. It was never like crazy annoying where I have like 10 people around me. I just only had like few small ones, like, "Hey, like, I know you, I seen you fight. Good luck." And I'm like, "Thank you." That's it. But during the fight week, or like during the fight day, um, I enjoy the most like after the fights, because then it's like you don't have to worry about anything. Before the fight, if I bump into somebody, it would be maybe a little weird to like. Well, it never happened, first of all, but it maybe would be like weird, like, "Thank you guys, but I gotta go stay focused. I'll see you guys after the fight." But after the fights, like, I love it. It's, well, especially if you win, and even if you lose, like, you just feel appreciation from the people. So it's nice. It lifts you up if you lose. But yeah, my in my last fight, there was this random guy, just one guy with his kids, I think, just standing in the hallway, um, just waiting for the fighters to walk by. And I think he had like maybe everybody's pictures. I definitely know he had like some fighters' pictures, and he was just waiting for them to walk by. So I was walking, he like sees me, he's like, "Julius, Julius, can I take it? Can I get an autograph?" And he had like my picture ready, and like I signed, and his kids were there, and I think he had like he was doing that with like few fighters, just waiting for them to come in. And I was like, that's cool, that's nice. Like, you waited for me, to sign the thing. So it's definitely motivating for me. Like, oh, like people look up to me like that. Like, cause for me, like, I'm nobody. Like, I'm same Julius like I've always been, but in their eyes, it's like, "Oh, but he's Julius. He like fought on TV. Like he's a fighter." Da da da.
It's
So I'm
such a
like,
surreal feeling.
right. Like, I don't feel that, but like if they feel, it's like, cool. Okay, I'll participate it, do some signatures, and it's fun. I definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, and your personal opinion as a fighter, do you feel like there's an obligation when you sign up and you want to be a fighter? Do you have to recognize that this is kind of part of the job is to connect with your fans and the whole idea about signing autographs, things like that?
Uh, yes. Sometimes I'm sure it could get annoying.
For sure.
For me, yeah, for me, it hasn't been annoying yet. Maybe because I haven't had that many people approach me. Um, as right now, looking at it, I feel like I would have no problem standing for an hour after my fight, just signing autographs, doing with pictures with people. Because that's still building your brand, that's gaining fans,
It
and
is.
in the long run, that's popularity and more money. Like, people gonna pass the word, oh, Julius is cool. Like, he stood there for an hour and he signed all our autographs, took pictures with us, blah, blah, blah. That's cool. That goes a long way. And I feel maybe later on, eventually, it would get annoying after I would done it so much. Then maybe it would feel more like a job. But
Right.
maybe that's why I'm like trying not to. That's why maybe I'm like trying to get everything just with the flow. I'm not worrying about calling people out. I'm not worrying about trash talking. Oh, here comes the fans. Okay, I'll sign some photos. So I'll just do what's naturally happening versus me going out of the way and trying to disturb the flow. So I think, yeah, I think I'll be. I don't think I'll ever be annoyed signing autographs.
Fair enough.
I
Fair
like it.
enough.
Yeah.
And just kind of going back to the whole Grand Prix there. I mean, in your division, so you got some matchups there. I mean, I think they got the semifinals. So you got Rumble, obviously the champ Nemkov, and then you have on the other side, I think it's Bader and Corey Anderson. So with those matchups, how do you see? Like, what's your predictions for those two matchups?
I feel Namco will win his fight. Um, I mean, sure, he could get clipped, absolutely, but I think I think he will pull that one off. I think he'll go a little bit more into
I think his cardio is really
grappling.
held up as well, and that might be a problem for Rumble.
Right. Yeah, better keep it moving. Don't want to get by Rumble. Um, but I think he's gonna be smart enough to address that problem. And with Corey and Bader, I did not watch Bader fight against Machida, and I did not watch Corey fight against the Russian guy in his last fight. So I don't know where they stand with the skill and how they look.
They
Um,
both definitely have the wrestling. So it's a matter of whether that's going to be a wrestling match or that's going to be a stand up, which typically you get two wrestlers together as it turns to be a stand up. So we'll have to see who's got the superior stand up.
right. Um, yeah, because I didn't. I should have looked at those fights, but I didn't. Um, for some reason, I wanted to say Bader, but yeah, I'll just go with Bader.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And if I think with this whole Grand Prix has been one of the best, and it really shows if you can get to that top. I mean, at the end of the day, all these guys can be a potential champion. I think you can be a potential champion. Looking at all these guys here, I think all these guys have all the potential to be a champion. But that being said, to be able to get to the top really shows you how much more superior you are, or how much more, excuse me, how much more you're how much better, just how much more better you can be than all these guys. And I think that's a whole part of the tournament.
Yeah, it's like when they made a tournament, it's like I feel it was just about who's gonna make less mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they all had the chance to win, and sure, some might be a little bit more dominant than the others. But I literally looked at him like either one could pull it off, especially like how MMA goes sometimes. Just like anything can happen. And since it's like bigger guys, okay, all you need is one. I mean, Rumble almost got knocked out. So it's, yeah, definitely enjoy watching how it's all playing out. I think I also watching it a little bit more because I was almost part of it. And maybe if I was not in Bellator, maybe I would not pay attention. So I don't know. Maybe I'm only paying attention because I'm kind of right there. So
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
And tell me if I'm wrong, but is it true? I remember watching something, and before your last fight, there was a possibility that you might have went and filled in a spot in that Grand Prix, and you were going to fight Corey Anderson. Was that a possibility?
Yes. It was Thursday morning, and they were like, we had to go cut weight, and I like, hi coach, I'll meet you downstairs, and he goes downstairs. It was like 7 in the morning. He's like, Julius, did you hear the news? I'm like, no. The Russian is having a hard time making weight. If you make, they want you to make 205, and if the Russian doesn't make the weight, then because I need to make 206,
Mm-hmm.
and so like, yeah, can you make 205? I'm like, yeah, and yeah, if the Russian would not have made weight, I would have jumped in, but he ended up making weight the last moment, so I was like, yeah, whatever. That's when I also found out it was 5 rounds, not 3. I was like, oh, I guess I'll have to fight 5 rounds. Huh. All right, whatever. Um, but yeah, he ended up making weight, so it was nice. I mean, I got extra money for the cutting that 1 extra pound, so that was sweet.
It was
Um,
worth it.
oh yeah, and I mean, yeah, they called me to like fight Rumble, but I was like in New York. I fought like what 3 weeks ago now. So before they
Mm-hmm.
posted, they were like, "Hey, like we had that chance to do it, but we all talked about it. It's like, okay, well, I just fought a few weeks ago. I haven't done nothing for a while, and we were kind of planning to fight in July or so. So it's like we all agreed that it was just like, okay, I signed a new contract. I'm in a pretty good spot. I haven't trained a little bit, and for someone like Rumble, you kind of want to train. So we all agreed that it's just like, should we risk it or should we just not take the risk? Especially that I resigned my contract and everything is looking good. So we just all kind of agreed to it that it just wasn't worth it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was tempting because it's like it's such a big opportunity that I got. This is the ultimate spot that everybody's been talking about. But it was such a weird timing of me not doing anything for a little bit and the fight being so close that it just wasn't worth it. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can
Okay,
see.
yeah, I
I
can't
just
see you
switched
now.
it.
Okay,
I just switched it.
okay. So yeah, we just kind of agreed like it's just not worth it. I'm in a good spot. It's okay. It's fine. Um, so yeah, everybody will message me, Julius, so you're gonna get the spot, and I have to like explain everybody. It's like, nah, it's not gonna happen because blah blah blah, and everyone's like, yeah, that's a good decision.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of little weird to get all these text messages with people asking, "So are you in it? Are you in it?" It's almost like I was letting them down because there was an alternate, but they didn't know the position I was in, like with the new contract. So it's like, okay, like, yeah, we agree, like, you're in a good spot, like, you just better not risk it. And since the Rumbles fight is over now, it's like, it's forgotten. At first, everybody's like, so is Julius going to be it? So is Julius going to step in? But now that it's over, it's like, okay, everyone forgot about it. So it's all good. It was just like few days of chaos. Is Julius going to be in? Are you taking it? Are you not taking it? But it's all good. So yeah, I don't know now if what the position I'm in, if someone does happen to drop out, if I'm still alternate or not. I'm okay with either or. Because again, me trying not to disturb the things and just not being the trash talker, I feel almost like how far in a tournament can you step in? For example, if someone gets hurt for the finals, does that mean I just get a bye straight into the finals? Don't get me wrong, I'll take it. Like, because I mean,
It's kind of a
it's cool.
mental factor. You want it, it would be great, but you fear like
It's
the
almost like you
criticism
cheated your
you'll
way
get.
in.
Yeah. When
Right. It's almost like you
really,
cheated your way in. So it's like, honestly, like if there is a final, and let's say final Bader and the and Nemco just for hell of it, and Nemco gets hurt. Hey, Julius, you want to fight in the finals for $1 million? It's like $1 million. It's like you don't want to say no to that, but at the same time, and yes, you should take opportunity that knocks on a door. You should take it. It's not your fault that they decided to call you,
exactly.
so you should do it. But part of me almost wishes that that's not right. So give someone like Machida, who was in a tournament, let him come back, or somebody, because it's like he was already one of the chosen. So like me stepping in, like I'm sure if my coach is listening to this right now, he'd be like, Julius, shut the up, take the spot. Um, I feel I would end up taking it just because it's money and you would get criticism for only so long.
I feel like the
Um,
fans will criticize whatever happens, and that's just something we really can't control. Fans are
right,
gonna be dicks, and that's just how fans can be sometimes. They don't know if they're not fighting; they don't really know what's going on. And that's the biggest thing that one of my biggest pet peeves I see with some fighters, and even fighters I've interviewed, is like they'll have a fight where they either take an opportunity or they just get offered something and they get put in a position where they could get a title shot or whatever, and people are like, "Oh, that's not fair." And it's like, yeah, but when you're a fighter and they offer you something, you don't just get to choose if you want to. It's they offer it to you and you take it, you take it. And in
right.
this case, $1 million. I mean, $1
It's
million.
life changing. It's life changing. It's definitely something you rather take and take some criticism. So it's, yeah, I feel I would end up taking it at the end. But like part of me wishes like, oh, I wish they probably maybe did not even offer me to for the title to begin with.
Right.
Give it to some guys like some legends who like were already in the tournament and deserve it. So, but if if they offer it, then and if I'm ready, then yeah, let's do it.
Excellent. And just last one here for you. So, looking in the position you're at right now, 3 wins in the Bellator. You just signed a new contract. So that being said, we're almost midway 2021. Crazy. Well, at least we're in May anyway. So looking at the end of the year, 2021, where do you see yourself at the end of the year?
I feel I definitely will have 2 fights, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
July or August, and something by the end of the year. If I keep staying healthy, right now I feel pretty good. My arm is pretty good. And yeah, I see myself 2-0 by the end of the year. Well, I mean, anything can happen.
If you
But
don't believe you
at the
can win, you shouldn't be fighting.
right, yes. But at the same time, it's weird to me when both guys are like, if 2 guys are fighting and they both saying how they're gonna win. I'm like, so is it gonna be a draw? Like, so how many draw we're gonna get? Like, so it's like I want to win, but I'm not gonna act like freaking somebody and pretend that that's not a possibility.
Mm-hmm. You're aware of
Anything can.
the
I'm aware of it.
circumstances that could happen. Yeah.
Exactly. So if I
Mm-hmm.
accept it, I feel it's gonna be easier for me to, like, if it does happen, then it's easier for me to move on and just move on to the next one if it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, like, because some people, like, same thing goes when people talk about their upcoming fights. Oh, my opponent is, his jiu-jitsu sucks, or his striking is not good, blah blah blah. Like, I'll be fine. And then if they get surprised, like, it could be tough mentally.
Yeah.
Like, if I say, like, oh, this guy's striking is trash, and then he hits me a few times, I'll be like, whoa, I did not expect this. What is happening? And then you'll find yourself in trouble. So for me, I'm always like, oh, this guy is good. Like, I always give my opponents a lot of credit. This guy is good with that. This guy is dangerous. This guy might put me down. Da da da. So that keeps me on my toes. Versus being all too confident. Like, sure, yes, go be confident and go kick ass, but realize the dangers that might come with it. So if you do run into them, which you will, then you'll already kind of address them in your head, and you'll just deal with it right there and then, versus pretending that you're not gonna run into any issues. Like, that's dumb. No, it's fighting. Like, you're fighting athletes. They're gonna punch you in the face. It's not gonna feel good.
Yeah.
Uh, that's gonna happen. So better think about it and be like, all right, like, this is gonna be tough. So just be on your A game and go fight. And usually when I think that, and when I get in the cage, it's like, huh, it's not as bad as I thought. So I rather
Mm-hmm.
have that feeling versus, oh, it's not. It's gonna be easy, and then it's not easy, and then it's like, shit, I'm in trouble. So
It's nice to see like
yeah,
someone like yourself have that mindset and know the reality, and that's why that's why you see some fighters buckle. You see some that they have this mindset that I'm unstoppable, I'm not human, and when they lose, it's so affects their ability to go in the next fight. And some easier than done. Some
mm-hmm,
can come back and go their back their old ways and be able to learn from that. Some just never recover. So it's good to see
mm-hmm,
someone like yourself be able to have that mindset and know that, I want to win. I believe I can win, but these are the circumstances. Anybody can get clipped. Anybody can get put in an armbar, be put in a choke. It happens, and that's reality of fighting. That's reality of
yeah,
competition. So
yeah. And I think the top guys, the top guys who say, "Oh, I will win, I will win," I don't think they. I think they got it right. They're just confident, and I think they know that there is a possibility of, like, losing or being in trouble, but they
mm-hmm.
just that motivated to go win and go after it. That's all they see. Um, but I'm sure they're aware of everything, or else they would not be, like, champions or top guys.
Of
So
course.
I feel it's more for them. younger people. Like, I still consider myself as young in this sport in my career. I mean, what am I now? 10-1. Like, sure, I guess, yeah, that's quite a bit of a fight, but I also feel like it's not a lot of fights. I don't know. For me, at least, I feel that way. So for me, I still consider young. So anyone who's like within my number of fights, and if they talk like it's no big deal, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I still prefer to like think like I'm about to run into some crazy guys, and they're gonna like try to put a beating on me. I better be ready for it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be easy, and I think that's what helps me to train a lot and hard and smart and recover and just kind of get ready for it versus just saying like, I'll be good. This guy's trash. He doesn't have nothing on me. And then kind of going through practice with that thinking that I already got it in the bag. But no.
Well, Julius, I appreciate you coming on here and talking a little bit about yourself and your career and everything. And hopefully you'll get a fight in next little while, and hopefully we'll get you back on here and we'll talk about it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julius. All right, take care. Well, everyone, if you enjoyed that, please like, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see Julius soon. I apologize for that awkwardness. I think he was off. He was gonna get off, and I was gonna get off, and then I think he was gonna say something, so I felt like cut him off there. So, anyway, guys, again, if you like that, please subscribe and please like, please share, and more content's on the way. Interview tomorrow with somebody I will not name. It will be I will be putting an announcement on Instagram. And so in podcast Wednesday and Friday, I will have another one, and we'll see you guys soon. All right. So I appreciate the support, and I hope you guys like this video, and we'll see you guys next time.